Just by virtue of introduction, my name is Bronson Mokabela. I am the GM for Marketing and Communication at SASCOC. And for your sins, the Program Director for this afternoon. But before we kick off, I'd like to acknowledge just a few people on stage with us here. Our host, I guess, ultimately for this trip, being the President of SASCOC, Mr. Barry Hendricks. Also like to acknowledge the IOC President, Dr. Thomas Bach, and his delegation that's in around the room here, as well as special people to both the IOC family, SASCOC family, people with a lot of history around this organization and sport in South Africa, Dr. Sam Ramsamy, as well as Mr. Anand Singh. As part of the delegation, who's unfortunately not with us today, we had Mustafa Paraf, who is the president of ANOCA, the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa. So he's not here today, but is part of the trip. I'd like to acknowledge our SASCOC board here with us. And I guess more importantly as well, our members of our national federations that have joined us in the room, as well as the people that help tell our stories, ultimately being the media. And I guess with that, all protocol observed. Sorry, I forgot my CEO, the person who pays my salary. With it being pay week, it's actually the worst time to forget the person that pays your salary. But also, I guess, acknowledging the SASCOC staff as well. But yeah, this weekend, I guess, not just today, is a special weekend for us, in that we've had the visit from the IOC president here. This is his first visit since the last time he was here, being 2013, just after he was elected as president of the organization. And as part of that visit, we were fortunate enough to have him as part of the Athletes in Daba yesterday, run by our Athletes Commission, led by the chairman, Khotso Mokoena, who himself is an Olympian. I think, yeah, a valuable engagement, and I'm sure President will have a few words to say about it in time. And also had the opportunity to engage with the athletes, you know, where we had some of our Olympians and Paralympians that performed well at the games. So we officially inaugurated our Wall of Fame yesterday, and I guess no better occasion to have it than with the president of the IOC here in the country, where the athletes will be celebrated ultimately as they achieve their success. There was an engagement with the Minister of Sport, so I'm sure there's always interesting conversations there. I'm not going to reveal what was said. I'll keep it to myself, just in case I get quoted incorrectly. But yeah, I guess today is an opportunity just to engage, allow the media any questions that you may have. But I guess maybe just to hand it over to Mr. Barry Hendricks, maybe just to officially acknowledge the session that we are in. And then I guess with that, I'll also throw over a question to Dr. Thomas Bach around the significance of this visit and his views on why this matters, especially by virtue of the fact that as part of this trip, they've visited Senegal, who will be hosting the Youth Olympic Games in 2026, and visiting a few other neighboring countries in the continent, Lesotho, Uganda, and Kenya. Yes, so no press conference, job done. Anyway, and with that, I'll just hand over to you, Mr. Barry Hendricks. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bronson. While we're here, we have... that wasn't a speech by Bronson.
No, it was
There's
opening.
no need to clap for him. But we would like to have Mustafa Paraf to come and join us. IOC member, come, sir, please. And as Bronson had mentioned, Mr. Paraf is the president of ANOCA, Association of National Olympic Committees, that's it, of Africa. Assalamu alaikum. Oops.
Thank you.
Bonjour, monsieur. So today is a special day. It's part of our program with the IOC President Bach, our two IOC members, Mustafa Paraf as well as Anand Singh, and our honorary IOC member, Dr. Sam Ramsamy. It's an extension of yesterday's meeting where we met with and had a lovely session, engaging session with our athletes at the athletes in Durban. The reason why President Bach is here, he will explain, but it's critical for you to realize that we need to bring the African family closer together. And the fact that we're having a South African braai, I see the notice said barbecue. I don't know where that came from. It's a South African braai. And you need to use the word correctly, braai. Not braai, braai. And we hope you're going to enjoy the food. There's also a special, people who've asked for special menus, such as bunny chow. So we'll be having a few of those for those special members. But for me, it's important that to also state that this morning we had a really good session with the Minister of Sport. He was last night. We also had a function, a dinner, with various dignitaries, including our previous Deputy President. And the discussions this morning was very enlightening. And there's some good news that we'll mention when the time is right. But you know me, that whenever we have our meetings as presidents, there's always good news. The fact about our sponsors, the fact about our funding and our partners. So SASCOC is in a good place, in a good space. And even better so, that we have the very top dogs from the IOC visiting us and showing that South Africa is still an important country in the whole world when one looks at all the NOCs. And for me, it's an honor and a privilege to have and to host President Bach and his entourage. And we can only build on this for the future. And when we look at the funding that the IOC has given us over the many, many years, thanks to Dr. Sam Ramsamy, this auditorium is a result of that partnership with the IOC. And not many other countries can say that. So we are privileged and we are proud to be hosts to President Bach. Today's session is a social session. The media will ask us questions and then we'll respond. And then Dr. Bach, President Bach, he doesn't like to use the word doctor, President Bach is going to socialize with you as well and enjoy the food, the South African food. They've just come from Soweto, so they've experienced that part of South Africa. Now they're going to meet you, the engine, the presidents, the SGs of the various national federations. So I can hand over to Dr. Bach, President Bach, and we'll have a few words from him, and then we'll take the media questions and then move from there. And by the way, this event is being live streamed, so we are fortunate in that respect as well. President?
Thank you very much for this very kind introduction. And just to explain why I don't like the doctor is because I'm not in the pills business, where you usually need it to show your qualities. And the question why I've been coming here, I learned now it's to enjoy the braai right after. But in fact, we are here in South Africa on a tour through Africa, which here in South Africa has a very special significance. The whole tour is to highlight the ever-growing importance of this young continent of Africa in the Olympic movement, and to support this development there in Africa, through Africa, and with Africa. And there we made a first demonstration of this when we have been allocating the Youth Olympic Games to Africa, organized in Senegal, but Youth Olympic Games for Africa and with Africa, and celebrated then in Dakar. which will again underline that importance of Africa in the Olympic movement. The visit to South Africa has another special significance because it is not for nothing that South Africa was the first country I visited directly after my election in 2013. It was already then to emphasize my great attachment to South Africa and my great friendship there, in particular with my dear friend Sam Ramsamy, whom I know for decades, and to say at the same time thank you for all the support I could always in my different functions in sport enjoy from my South African friends. And now I'm here at the end of my mandate to say thank you again, because this support endured over these 11 years, almost 12 years now. But at the same time, to encourage South Africa to encourage Africa to take on this important role and to drive things forward. And there, I think SASCOC in South Africa is giving a great example. You have doubled your number of medals from Tokyo to Paris. You have won the same number of medals in the Olympic Games as in the Paralympic Games. So you can clearly see that it's not just my friendly feeling or my feeling of friendship for South Africa, but that this is the reality supported by numbers, so that Africa and South Africa is on the rise, and to encourage this development on and off the field of play. This is one purpose of my stop here, and I made it now here before the end of my mandate, because I do not know whether after my mandate I will still be welcome, so I played it safe. And got to know, I think, part of the secret of this success and of this doubling of the medals, when I had the opportunity yesterday to attend the Athletes Forum. And this, for me, whenever I travel into every country I'm visiting, I always insist that there is a meeting with athletes, and if possible, at every leg of the visit, that there are always athletes being present. And yesterday was there one of these opportunities at these athletes forums. And there I got an idea why SASCOC is so successful, and why the athletes are so proud of being South Africans and of being members of SASCOC. It was indeed impressive to see how close the relationship is. You know, when you are sitting there and then you try to read the room. And then when you have a room where you see that the athletes are speaking up, that they are not reading questions they got before to read, to be put to the IOC president, but that at least it appeared to be spontaneous. And when you see a president moving through the room and knowing all the athletes by name and can give you some personal information about one or the other, and when you see the athletes noticing the CEO and they have a smile on their face, then you know you're at the right place. You're at a place where the athletes are having a voice, are having a vote, and are well taken care of, and their voice is being heard, and not only heard, it's respected. And this, according to my interpretation at least, is this recipe for success, because this gives the athletes confidence, that gives them determination, and this is supporting them in their passion, and only if you have these three you can be successful. Then we had a very fruitful discussion with a minister, where I could also experience the passion for sport and his commitment to sport, and where I could also realize what is also not like this in every country of the world, that the sports minister and the NOC president are on talking terms, and that they do not only talk, but that they share the same goals, that they respect each other's roles, and another ingredient for success. And now I'm looking forward to meeting the national federations and to test a little bit how your chances are for your re-election. Then I think we will have another highlight there this the evening when we will meet many women being engaged in sport, because gender equality is one of my priorities during my mandate. So I'm looking forward to see then not only the strong and exciting drummers in the world of arts in South Africa, what we could see at the entrance, but then to meet the strong women in sports in Africa, and to learn from them what maybe we can do even more to promote gender parity also off the field of play, after we have achieved it on the field of play with the Olympic Games Paris 2024. So thank you so far, very for the great hospitality, and for allowing me to make all this experience, and thank you Sam, and thank you Anand for being there with me and sharing again the history of the country and your personal history this morning in the visit to Soweto. And thank you to my great friend Mustafa Baraf, who is the president of the National Olympic Committees of Africa, is also emphasizing, this great role and this ever-growing importance of Africa in the Olympic movement.
Thank you, President. now going to open up for questions from the media, and then we move on to the braai there afterwards. Balls in your court, sirs and ladies.
We do have a roving mic. Just lift your hand and then.
You can guide us,
That's all.
Bronson.
Okay, there, Sarah.
Sarah van der Walt, Beeld newspaper. I would just like to find out from the President, what's the possibility of games in Africa? Can Africa afford a game?
Are you asking me or the President?
The IOC President.
Yes.
Caitlin?
And I can even tell you why if you want. But,
Yes.
There are different reasons, you know. First of all, again, we see Africa on the rise, and we see here in South Africa now also a good stability of the country. We see a positive development, and we know that South Africa is a sports-loving country. And then on the other hand, we have also realized that the infrastructure in South Africa is more or less existing in many areas, and that hosting such a great event like the Olympic Games is also within the vision of SASCOC, and I think also in the vision of the country to demonstrate to the world what Africa can do, and to benefit then also from all the positive effects hosting an Olympic Games has. And on the other hand, we on the IOC side have revolutionized the conditions and the procedure when it comes to organize Olympic Games. You know, that means that in the past, what we did there was sending a kind of questionnaire to interested countries, and then they had to tick all the boxes. Yes, I do, I do, I do, I do. Then if they did this, then they had a chance. If they did not do this, they did not have a chance. Now, we have been turning this completely around. We say, how would you envisage Olympic Games in the framework of your long-term development plan? And then let's talk, and then we see how we can adapt the games to your plans and to your conditions and to your culture and to your possibilities. And there are many, you know, this leads to very concrete steps that first of all we are saying, you know, when it comes to facilities, existing facilities is first priority. We do not need and want, you know, monuments being built for 2 weeks of an Olympic Games or 4 weeks of an Olympic and Paralympic Games. Second, if you don't have existing buildings for sports or facilities for sports which are maybe not so popular in your country, then you can go for temporary facilities, and this is, you know, very easy today. I think you all have followed Paris, and you see all these iconic facilities were temporary facilities. When you now go to the Eiffel Tower, you will not find the volleyball field anymore. or when you go to the Place de la Concorde, you will not have the skateboarding arena anymore, just to give you some examples. The same is true, and there Paris was the first edition of the Games which could benefit from these reforms. And then secondly, even if you think that a temporary facility is not the best solution, then we are ready to talk, to give a number of events to other cities in your country. And this can be true for team sports, for preliminaries, or can be for an entire sport, as we also had it in Paris again. You know, you saw handball in Lille. For instance, you saw shooting in Châteauroux. You saw sailing in Marseille. And that's another issue. So there we are ready to adapt, and this makes the games very feasible. And for all these reasons, and you know, there I could give many more. The answer to your question is yes.
Bronson, you're going to manage the president's time.
No problem. Maybe Vela, just to you.
President Bach, thank you very much for this opportunity. You will be leaving your post as IOC president, and many on the continent and in South Africa are very excited about the fact that we have Kirsty Coventry, who has put forward a bid. What is your advice to those who are standing to be the next presidents of the Olympic Committee?
Oh, it's not you know, my role to intervene there in this election, and also I never give unsolicited advice, and I don't give unsolicited advice by the media in no way. Please understand this. I think I have made the comments I thought I owe to the IOC members during the Olympic Games in Paris, at the end of the Olympic Games in Paris. What I think is important, the members should have in mind when they elect the new president, and now it is up to them, and there I trust the wisdom of the colleagues, of my friends, IOC members, that they will choose the right person then to lead this IOC in an even brighter future.
Thank you. Charles? Maybe the mic come to you.
Thank you. Charles Baloy from SABC, the national broadcaster. Welcome, President. I hope in this question you'll be able to intervene or answer in the best way possible that I would like to get information. Firstly, SASCOC will be having its elections next month. What is the role of the IOC in the election? I'm asking this question in terms of 4 years ago, there was chaos with too many emails from IOC back and forth, and members were not happy with the facilitator that was overseeing the election. So what is the role of the IOC, and what does that facilitator do? Take us through that. And then lastly, you've been elected in 2013, and you'll be leaving soon. What is your biggest regret in terms of what we didn't do for Africa? What have you done for Africa that you feel like this is what I would have loved to have left Africa in this state? Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. With regard to the first question, you know, the only role the IOC has in elections of our NOCs is to make sure that they are happening in accordance with the rules of the Olympic Charter. And so far we have no reason whatsoever, at least none has been reported to me. I'm looking around at my colleagues in the delegation, whether they have been hiding something from me, but I think they would have jumped already on the desk. So we, can I say we, James? We have no reason whatsoever that these rules of the Olympic Charter for democratic elections would not be respected. I think on 30th of November. Make the right choices also there in accordance with the rules. With regard to the second question, you know, I've never made a secret, even at the beginning of my mandate. I think it was during this first trip to South Africa, already when I said I have a dream, therefore my mandate, and that I would like to see Olympic Games happening in South Africa during my presidency. This was for different reasons not possible, apparently. So then I had to correct my dream a little bit, and then I said, you know, if it's not Olympic Games, then it should be at least Youth Olympic Games. And so then we have been allocating the Youth Olympic Games for 22 to Africa. And I was longing for the moment to open these Youth Olympic Games on the African continent. And then came a certain guy named COVID and destroyed the whole dream again. So now it will happen, but it will happen after my term has finished. So I'm very happy for my successor, that then my successor in the first year of the presidency will be able to open the first Olympic event on the African continent, and then maybe also be able to oversee and to fulfill the dream I had during then the next presidency, to see finally Olympic Games in Africa, and filling this white spot we still have on our Olympic map when it comes to organize Olympic Games.
Thank you. I'm not sure if there's any other questions. Geraldine, and then we'll come to you. So.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Bach. My name is Geraldine Pillay. I'm here in the capacity of Supersport. I just want to find out, in an era where we are being dominated by virtual entertainment, how does the IOC plan to stay relevant to a young audience?
I think we have higher relevance than ever before. At least this is the first conclusion we can draw from the audience there in Paris, where altogether more than half of the world population has been following these Olympic Games. And in particular, the number on the digital platforms are just going through the roof. This is a clear indication that the young generation, you know, is back to the games, what was not always the case, but there we are very happy and also a little bit proud that apparently the reforms we undertook to make the games younger, to make the games more urban, to give the opportunity to introduce new sports, that all these reforms are bearing fruit. But this is not enough because we also undertook their efforts to inspire the young generation, or this part of the young generation, which is more on the digital platforms and in the video games or e-games and e-sports, culminating with a decision having been taken in Paris that from next year on we will have Olympic e-sports games, and in this way also addressing this part of the young generation, and to inspire them with the ideas of universal fair competition, inspiring them also with ideas for more gender parity, where there is still a lack there in this area, and to inspire them with the Olympic values as such, so that in the end this will not be with the first edition alone, but then on the more long term that we have the one Olympic community, be it in esports, be it in the Olympic Games.
Thank you. And I think just to add to that, then it's appreciated because if you get a chance, maybe just have a look at the Agenda 2020+5 that the IOC has been driving, which speaks a lot to a lot of the comments that have been made on the table here. There's just one question there, and then maybe over to you.
Just to note that Geraldine is also one of our top athletes, our Olympian as well. Welcome.
Yes.
Is it on?
Yes.
Thank you, President, for gracing us with your presence. Buddha Matata is my name. My question is linked with the second question that was asked by the national broadcaster. South Africa, President, is one of the most important countries, not only on the continent, but globally. And I want to understand, President, that why has it taken you 11 years or 12 years for you to visit South Africa? COVID was only 2 years.
No pressure.
It's better late than never.
Not sure if there's any questions. Just last one, and maybe then we can close with it, because I guess important to this journey is sustainability of, sorry.
I just wanted to add,
Apologies.
Jolene, to your point on young audiences. What we found out of Tokyo and then out of Paris is that the broadcasters, be it NBC and Peacock or Eurosport and their partners, or BBC, which is the partner of Eurosport, have now been quickly presenting the content in ways that are more attractive to younger audiences. So now you have the traditional broadcast of the live television, etc. But then there's interstitial programming. There's ability to get the shows onto your streaming platform or onto your phone. And those things are actually working very well, and they are going to continue to grow. I think you guys do it to some degree, but I think it's each time we see the numbers, it's just growing exponentially. Thanks.
Thank you. just last question, just from my side, and then I'll close. Regarding the sustainability of the Olympic movement, revenue generation is critical. I guess different forms of revenue generation. I guess if you can just maybe expand on the importance of partners in enabling sustainability of the games, and ultimately how then that helps the NOCs in terms of funds flowing down. And I know we've got James here, and the role of the Olympic Solidarity Program in supporting the NOCs.
Here speaks the marketing officer. I thought it would be questions from media and not from campaigners. No, I think I can summarize the answer to this question very easily. We just have increased the budget for our Olympic solidarity programs by 10%. James McLeod and his team, they have now for the next Olympiad, for the next 4 years, from 25 to 28, $650 million US at their disposal for the support of the athletes and the national Olympic committees around the world with all the manifold programs. And on top of this, that we have increased the contribution to the least privileged NOCs from the top program by 43%. So to help the ones who are most affected by the ongoing worldwide economic crisis, with the interrupted supply chains, with inflation, which more or less international trade. Therefore, to help them, we have made this big increase for these least privileged national Olympic committees, and I do not think that you will find more, if any, international organization than the IOC, which in these times is able to increase their budgets. When there you look around, and if I speak with my colleagues, presidents or chairs of other international organizations, then there are not in the position to have any increase, to say it diplomatically. Most of them, they have to deal with drastic reductions in their budgets. So there we are in a very fortunate position, and this is greatly supported by the fact, that we have already now allocated the Olympic Games 2028 to Los Angeles, 2030 the Winter Games to the French Alps, 2032 then the Games to Brisbane, and 34 then the Winter Games to Salt Lake City. So there also in this respect, the foundations we have created there are very sound, and already, with firm commitments and signed contracts until 2034, 10 years ahead.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I think, the braai is waiting. The meat is ready to be eaten. But thank you for your time. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you to panel on the front here, and I think the takeaway from today is the IOC is in a good position and in good hands. With that, I'd like to close the session. Thank you.
Thank you. CEO, in your